Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Paid in Advance, Volume 3, Book 35, number 441 to 460. Volume 3, Book 35, number 441. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Allah's apostle came to Medina and the people used to pay in advance the price of fruits to be delivered within 1 or 2 years. The sub-narrator is in doubt whether it was 1 to 2 years or 2 to 3 years. The Prophet said, "Whoever pays money in advance for dates, to be delivered later, should pay it for known specified weight and measure of the dates." Volume 3, Book 35, number 442. Narrated by Ibn Abi Naji. As above, mentioning only specific measure. Volume 3, Book 35, number 443. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet came to Medina and the people used to pay in advance the price of dates to be delivered within 2 or 3 years. He said to them, "Whoever pays in advance the price of a thing to be delivered later should pay it for a specified measure at specified weight for a specified period." Volume 3, Book 35, number 444. Narrated by Ibn Abi Naji. As above, saying, he should pay the price in advance for a specified measure and for a specified period. Volume 3, Book 35, number 445. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet came to Medina, and he told the people, regarding the payment of money in advance, that they should pay it for a known specified measure and a known specified weight and a known specified period. Volume 3, Book 35, number 446. Narrated by Shubha. Muhammad or Abdullah bin Abu al-Mujallid said, Abdullah bin Shaddad and Abu Burda differed regarding as-salam. So they sent me to Ibn Abi Awfa and I asked him about it. He replied, "In the lifetime of Allah's apostle, Abu Bakr and Umar, we used to pay in advance the prices of wheat, barley, dried grapes and dates to be delivered later." I also asked Ibn Abza and he, too, replied as above. Volume 3, Book 35, number 447. Narrated by Muhammad bin al-Ma'lid. Abdullah bin Shaddad and Abu Burda sent me to Abdullah bin Abi Awfa and told me to ask Abdullah whether the people in the lifetime of the Prophet used to pay in advance for wheat, to be delivered later. Abdullah replied, "We used to pay in advance to the peasants of Sham for wheat, barley and olive oil of a known specified measure to be delivered in a specified period." I asked him, "Was the price paid in advance to those who had the things to be delivered later?" Abdullah bin Awfa replied, "We did not use to ask them about that." Then they sent me to Abdur Rahman bin Abza and I asked him. He replied, "The companions of the Prophet used to practice salam in the lifetime of the Prophet, and we did not use to ask them whether they had standing crops or not." Volume 3, Book 35, number 448. Narrated by Muhammad bin Abi al-Mujallid. As above, 446, and said, "We used to pay them in advance for wheat and barley, to be delivered later." Narrated Ash-Shaybani, and also for oil. Volume 3, Book 35, number 449. Narrated by Ash-Shaybani, who said, "We used to pay in advance for wheat, barley and dried grapes." Volume 3, Book 35, number 450. Narrated by Abu Bakhtari at Tai. I asked Ibn Abbas about salam for the fruits of date palms. He replied, "The Prophet forbade the sale of dates on the trees till they became fit for eating and could be weighed." A man asked what to be weighed, as the dates were still on the trees. Another man sitting beside Ibn Abbas replied, "Till they are cut and stored." Narrated Abu al-Bakhtari, I heard Ibn Abbas saying, that the Prophet forbade, etc. As above. Volume 3, Book 35, number 451. Narrated by Abu al-Bakhtari. I asked Ibn Umar about salam, the fruits of date palms. He replied, the Prophet forbade the sale of dates till their benefit becomes evident and fit for eating, and also the sale of silver, for gold, on credit. I asked Ibn Abbas about salam for dates, and he replied, the Prophet forbade the sale of dates till they were fit for eating and could be estimated. Volume 3, Book 35, number 452. Narrated by Abu al-Bakhtari. I asked Ibn Umar about salam for dates. Ibn Umar replied, the Prophet forbade the sale, the fruits, of date palms until they were fit for eating, and also forbade the sale of silver for gold on credit. I also asked Ibn Abbas about it. Ibn Abbas replied, the Prophet forbade the sale of dates till they were fit for eating, and could be weighed. I asked him, what is to be weighed, as the dates are on the trees? A man sitting by Ibn Abbas said, it means till they are cut and stored. Volume 3, Book 35, number 453. Narrated by Aisha. Allah's apostle bought some foodstuff, barley, from a Jew on credit and mortgaged his iron armor to him. The armor stands for a guarantor. Volume 3, Book 35, number 454. Narrated by Al-Amash. We argued at Ibrahim's dwelling place about mortgaging in salam. He said, Aisha said, the Prophet bought some foodstuff from a Jew on credit, and the payment was to be made by a definite period, and he mortgaged his iron armor to him. Volume 3, Book 35, number 455. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet came to Medina, and the people used to pay in advance the prices of fruits to be delivered within 2 to 3 years. The Prophet said to them, buy fruits by paying their prices in advance on condition that the fruits are to be delivered to you according to a fixed specified measure within a fixed specified period. Ibn Naji said, by specified measure and specified weight. Volume 3, Book 35, number 456. Narrated by Muhammad bin Abi al-Mujallid. Abu Burda and Abdullah bin Shaddad sent me to Abdur Rahman bin Abza and Abdullah bin Abi Alfa to ask them about the Salaf, salam. They said, we used to get war booty while we were with Allah's apostle, and when the peasants of Sham came to us we used to pay them in advance for wheat, barley, and oil to be delivered within a fixed period. I asked them, did the peasants own standing crops or not? They replied, we never asked them about it. Volume 3, Book 35, number 457. Narrated by Abdullah. The people used to sell camels on the basis of Habal al-Habala. The Prophet forbade such sale. Nafi explained Habal al-Habala by saying, the camel is to be delivered to the buyer after the she-camel gives birth. Volume 3, Book 35, number 458. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. Allah's apostle gave a verdict regarding shafar in every undivided joint thing, property. But if the limits are defined, or demarcated, or the ways and streets are fixed, then there is no preemption. Volume 3, Book 35, number 459. Narrated by Amr bin Ash-Sharad. While I was standing with Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, Al-Miswar bin Makrama came and put his hand on my shoulder. Meanwhile Abu Rafi, the freed slave of the Prophet, came and asked Sa'd to buy from him the 2 dwellings which were in his house. Sa'd said, by Allah I will not buy them. Al-Miswar said, by Allah, you shall buy them. Sa'd replied, by Allah, I will not pay more than 4,000 dirhams, by installments. Abu Rafi said, I have been offered 500 dinars for it, and had I not heard the Prophet saying, the neighbor has more right than anyone else because of his nearness, I would not give them to you for 4,000 dirhams, while I am offered 500 dinars, 1 dinar equals 10 dirhams, for them. So he sold it to Sa'd. Volume 3, Book 35, number 460. I said, O Allah's Apostle, I have 2 neighbors and would like to know to which of them I should give presents. He replied, to the one whose door is near to you.